Hey, what's up everybody? It's Ryan here again, playing through Bonk's Adventure on the Nintendo. Uh, I'd never played this one as a kid. I started playing it yesterday, and I was fortunate enough to kind of figure out how the game worked. Um, this game is fairly short. You can see why the length of the video is only 30 minutes long. You would take out the credits. Credits take a few minutes. Basically, when you jump in the air, you hit the B button and you'll do a half a flip, and that's how you attack your enemies. You have to land on your head to kill enemies. See, like right there I missed. You just keep on hitting the button. You can spin as much as you can until you hit the ground. Basic platformer. It's made by Sunsoft. Sunsoft also made, I think, my personal favorite game on the console, Mr. Gimmick. This is one of the rarer games on the console. It's a pretty good game. It's not a Cheetah 2 kind of thing where it's just rare because, it never came out or whatever. The game's awful. This game's pretty good. My only complaint, I would say, would be, you don't have a whole lot of control when you're in the air. If you hit, like, left and right while you're in the air, you don't have a whole lot of control, and it can get frustrating sometimes, especially after you hit enemies and stuff. You don't have a lot of control, and it doesn't really seem like that big of a deal, but it kind of does during the boss fights, because during the boss fight you can get kind of tossed into, after hitting the boss, you can kind of get yourself in a tough spot. If you don't know where you're landing, you can just take damage for no reason. So, other than that, the game is pretty darn fun. It's a pretty good game. And you'll see as I progress within the game, you use the flip and the headbutt and stuff to kind of get around some of the stages. Some enemies take more than one headbutt or one hit to kill, and those you can actually use. You can kind of juggle off of them. You'll see that in near the end. It's pretty neat looking. I'm guessing this is like roast beef. That's what it looks like. There's two kinds. There's the big kind, which is the one I got this time, and there's like a smaller one. The smaller one just basically gives you one extra. Smaller one makes you look how I am now. I'm not blinking. Every time you do a flipping land on your head when you're orange, you basically kill everything on the screen takes a hit. Obviously most enemies in the game only take one hit to die, so you kill most everything on the screen. I'm sorry if I don't talk too much. I actually had a tooth extracted a few days ago, so it kind of hurts to talk right now. But I shall persevere, I guess. Living, shiny beacon of hope, or whatever. So on that note, so I went to the dentist last week, and they said, well, because I had a pretty bad cavity. I don't have dental insurance, and it was going to be expensive for me to get it filled. So I had a birthday party, and I refused to eat any ice cream cake, and that was a red flag for my grandmother, who said, "Why aren't you eating ice cream cake?" And so I fought through 2 pieces of ice cream cake, and I was almost on the verge of tears. It hurt so, like the cold just hitting the nerves of your tooth. It hurts so much. I mean, I can't even explain how painful that is. But and she was watching me eat, and she asked what was wrong. I said, "Well, I have a toothache." She said, "Well, I'm going to take you to the dentist, and we're going to see what's wrong." So a few days ago, I went to the dentist. I had set my appointment up. Getting away from the gameplay. So gameplay. For the boss, just jump on his head. Every time you land on him, you have to hit the B button again to go upside down, to headbutt him and hit him again. So that's how I kept on hitting him. Okay, anyway, so moving on. So I went to the dentist, and they x-rayed it, and they looked at it, and they said, well, if you want to save the tooth, we can do a root canal, but we might still have to extract it anyway, because I guess it was just so bad that a root canal wasn't necessarily going to 100% fix it. So rather than going through it's more time than anything else, because there's no real pain at the dentist. You just get your anesthetic and you don't feel anything. It's just a lot of tugging and pulling. But So I figured, rather than paying for a root canal and then still running a and from what the doctor said, or dentist, it was still a pretty high risk or high percentage that I would have to get the tooth taken out anyway. So rather than sitting through a root canal and then, the odds are, in the favor of having to extract the tooth anyway, I just had them take it out. So right now my face isn't really swollen, but like all the spots on the inside top part of my mouth where the needle went in for the anesthetic, all that, I mean, they got me pretty numb. I counted at least 5 needle punctures. I think there were more, to be honest with you, because my first idea was I was just, they told me about the root canal thing. I said, okay, well, we'll do that first. So they injected me with some anesthetic, and then while they were waiting for it to set in, I kind of made the decision to just get the tooth taken out. So they hit me with some more anesthetic. So long story short is, it kind of hurts to talk right now. My mouth is pretty tender. It's just on the top right part of my mouth. But the good news is I could definitely, I mean, the tooth is gone, so there's no nerves to to hurt me, or whatever, however you want to put it. There's no nerves for me to feel pain anymore. So from what I understand now, it's just kind of a waiting game of the top part of my jaw has to kind of grow over the hole, which is where my tooth obviously used to be. And once that happens, because right now I'm eating nothing but kind of softer foods, keeping all my food that I'm chewing to the left, and I'm drinking fairly warm water. I'm not really drinking cold liquids yet, but just with the water by itself. I mean, I've had some pretty cold water kind of past couple days, and I can already feel I can swish it around, and it doesn't hurt at all. Where the hole is, which is good, because they told me about, because what happens is they basically compress it after they take your tooth out with gauze, and they put it in your mouth, and when you leave, you have to hold that in your mouth for a couple hours. Now what that does is it creates a blood clot, and eventually, within a couple hours, you'll stop bleeding, which is, it sounds like a hassle, but it's not too bad. They gave me plenty of replacement gauze and stuff, and when I ran out of the replacements, I would just take the gauze and put it in some warm water, clean off the blood, and then put it back in my mouth and wait around. And so all in all, it wasn't too bad, but the main issue with getting your tooth extracted is to watch out for that blood clot, because once it forms, if it pops out, you get what they call a dry socket, which I've heard is incredibly painful, and I don't want to deal with that. I'm not a guy who's super tough guy. I don't like pain. I can deal with, whatever. I can deal with most types of pain, but the pain in tooth pain is the worst I've ever felt. Obviously, I've never been shot, but I'm assuming that's probably worse. I'm actually going to take a... Actually, I'll talk about it later. I was going to talk about this boss, but I'm almost done with this story. So, basically, that's what I'm dealing with right now. That being said, I did take a couple days off of work, so been working on some Nintendo playthroughs. Again, not a tough guy. So, I decided to take a few days off. Luckily I have a job that is fairly lenient. I kind of set my own hours, so that wasn't too bad. But that's it, I guess. Yeah. So basically, I am one less tooth from the last time I talked to you guys. So, if you have any advice for, I'm not really sure what to expect. The only thing I know about is that I think my phrasing's probably bad, but for lack of a better term, my jawbone, like on the upper part, kind of has to grow over the hole. Once that happens, the clot's gonna just kind of come out. I'll probably swallow it in my sleep or something, I'm guessing, or spit it out or whatever. So once that happens, that's completely, completely healed. And that should take a couple weeks, I think. So again, I mean, that's pretty much it. So that's what I'm dealing with. That was my week, I guess. So back to the game. Those little look like turnip looking things, those are bonus stages. If you touch them, you get sent to a bonus stage depending on what type of like turnip thing, I guess it is. You go to different bonus stages. I don't go through any of them because I don't need anything. I could probably get some life, but life is pretty plentiful in the game, as you can see. Like all good platformers, they gotta have a obligatory water level, and this is it. So the game is pretty straightforward. The way the swimming works, you just hit the directionals and you go up, down, left, and right. You can hit the jump button, but I wouldn't recommend it because once you hit the jump button, you kind of like lurch upwards, but then you kind of pause for a second, and it's just kind of a waste of time. When we get to the ice stage, there's actually something that I didn't know about until I was recording this playthrough, which is pretty cool looking. And when we get there, I'll explain. See, as you can see, I almost have all my life back, and I haven't really done anything. So you make your way up. You got to kind of make sure to hit the enemies earlier than you kind of think you should. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, so if you do a flip and you land on your head, see, he just slides. It's pretty neat. I didn't know about that until I was recording, so I kind of go a little crazy on it and I do it as much as I can. It's pretty neat. It's a nice little addition to the gameplay. Doesn't really do anything, just aesthetically I think looks pretty neat. I don't know if you can hit enemies like that or not, because I didn't hit any enemies while I was doing it. Now, a practice I got used to doing was if you hit one of those yellow things, or those yellow, what am I thinking? Those red things. There's always, from what I saw, the items never changed, but I never remembered which items were what. So, a pretty something easy you can do to make sure that you don't get hit by the spring enemy that pops up in some of them is right when you jump on it, just hit the B button again, so you'll land face down. So if there is an enemy, you'll kill it. You don't have to worry about getting hit. And weirdly enough, that was the first time I've ever gotten eaten by that thing, and all the times I played through the game. I didn't even know that was possible. That's a little fun fact, I guess. So then you go down. This is like the guy that kind of looks like a Skeletor. Just in the colors. He reminds me of Skeletor from He-Man. Yep, there he is. Round 4. So this is the second to last level. Now this is the obligatory climbing area. You just have to make your way to the top. I don't think I really utilize the climbing that much. Like some except for that one level in early where it kind of makes you do it. Some surfaces allow you to climb on them. Okay, so I'm actually near the end, I think. See, like that, what I was saying earlier. So just when you jump on the red thing, just make sure you do a flip and then go straight down. So you'll always land on that. If it happens to be an enemy, you won't get hurt. And the reason why I'm going for like the ones that I'm going for these red things right now, 'cause I'm trying to get my health back up. I don't remember if it's this stage or the next stage where I get my last heart. The highest upgrade you can get is 3 additional hearts. You can see right now I have 5. Okay, so it's this next section. So here's where you get your 6th heart. During one of the latter stages, there's another spot to get another heart. That's I wouldn't say hidden, but it's in one of these red things. I'll show you where that is when I pass it. Okay, so here's kind of a Mario-esque thing with Mario-esque. Okay, so yeah, there was like something pretty cool with the. Okay, so here's the heart. You have to take a hit of damage there, but it doesn't matter because later on there's a big heart, and big heart fills up all your hearts. So as you can see now I have full life, I have fully powered up, and I'm gonna go to get the 4th boss. 4th boss is, I think he's like a boxing dinosaur thing. Now I have a pretty good run at him here. This was actually one of the fastest ways I've ever beaten him, because he usually starts like lunging and I miss and stuff, but there he goes. That was pretty darn. That was as fast as I've ever beaten him before, so pretty cool. Now the happy faces, each happy face you have left over after you beat a boss, it'll count down like that, and it gives you 1/3 of a heart. So if you got a lot of the faces, and maybe you're not doing so hot after a boss battle, you'll get some life back. Thankfully, that time I wasn't, I didn't need any health. I was able to get him in a pretty good holding pattern, I guess, however you want to put it. So I didn't get hit. So here's, I think, is the last panel. Okay, so yeah, this is the panel that has a heart on it. So if you've somehow missed one or more of the extra hearts, I don't go after it, and this one I'm already fully powered up, but I'll show you where it is. So you just make your way to the right. This stage actually kind of reminds me of that Kid Clown game. I don't know why. I think maybe the colors looks a lot like it. So I think it's that one right there, or is it on the? No, it's the last thing. Okay, so the last real red thing, you'll see it here in a second. It's going to be on the top part of the level. You have to stay on the bottom to progress. That thing, that guy right there has. Is it that one? No. Yeah, it is. Okay, so that thing back there has a heart in it. But as you can see, for up there, you have to go all the way back in order to finish the stage. Now this part's pretty easy. There is a lot of life that they give you with big hearts, carrots, I think, are the other things that you eat, and then plenty of the roast beef. Now the hit detection is pretty, I wouldn't say bad, but it's unforgiving as far as you hitting the spikes. You have to make sure you're dead center. Even with these things being as wide as they are, it's a little harder than it looks. Because you take damage even if you hit excuse me, if you hit the side of a spike, you'll take damage. So there's another heart in case you missed him. There's a big heart, so now I'm fully stocked. I tried to get away from this guy, but he follows you. I actually was hoping he would kind of get, screen killed, but he doesn't. So I think I go back and kill him. But even like the damage I'm taking is negligible because I'm gonna get all my life back here in a second anyway. So you can be a little reckless. There you go, big heart. You can be a little reckless and it's not a big deal really. And well, spoiler alert. So what happens is you go through a boss rush. You end up fighting all the bosses from the every boss that you've fought before. And after each boss, you get all your life back, basically. Like I said, here's some of the cool flip stuff I was able to do. So I'm flipping 3 times and just hitting those guys. 1, 2, 3. Later on, you'll see some cool things where I actually use like some of the enemies to pop over some pits and stuff. It's pretty cool. Now, right now, I'm trying to get the red things because I want to get my life back. Just for insurance, if I fall down or something, I'd rather have more life than not. Like that, like I missed. So I'm always 1, 2, 3. Get hurt. Move up. Here's where you can have some fun. They look like dogs to me. Maybe just lizards, I don't know. So here's where I don't know if I do it right each time, but yeah, see, I missed that. I think I tried this one a few times, I just completely fail. Yeah, I'm not doing so hot right now. So I gotta get some life back. Here's... Here's where I think I do it right. Boom, boop, boop, boop. See, like that stuff's kind of neat. It's a cool little mechanic in the game. I didn't use it too much because I'm not really familiar with it, but I'm sure you can make some. I'm sure you can do some cool stuff with the levels. So you make your way up. Now I think here's where I start fighting. Oh no, I have one more like hallway. Then I start fighting the bosses. Easiest way to deal with those guys is what I'm doing right now. Wait for them. Like you have to jump to the right of the red thing. Wait, and then do one stomp, and it'll put them in the. It won't kill them, but it'll put them in the lava, so they're not in the way, and you won't. They won't hit you or anything. So I think now might be the bosses. Maybe one more hallway. Oh man, I'm not even close. Okay. forgot about the waterfall. So in order to swim up the waterfall, you just tap the button. Every time you hit something, you fall down. I don't know what's in those red things. I haven't never gotten them. I've always been a pretty much full life going into this area, so I don't want to risk it and get hit by anything. So now you make your way to the right, then you go into... Oh wait, I still have to fight like the turtle van thing. Okay, yeah, so make your way to the right, then there's this big doorway. I'm gonna fill up my life. Now I'm fighting the second to left. Oh, man, I'm all mixed up. I just played this too. I'm stupid. Okay, so here's the boss rush. You'll see after every boss you get pretty much all your life back. Kind of wondering why all the dinosaurs have hair. Don't know about that. Here's this one I kind of got messed up on a little bit. So here's where I was busy talking about my tooth being pulled out of my face. Okay, so basically for the first 5 hits, this guy will just reappear, and he just flip onto his head when he lands. After the 5, then he doesn't disappear anymore. He'll jump around. Now, in order to hit him when he's jumping around, you actually have to hit him when he's in the air. So like you'll see me set it up. So here, jump on there. Another thing too is like the controls are kind of weird, hard to explain. They're not terrible, but they're definitely not. I've definitely played better games as far as control. So the goal is to basically jump on that right when he lands, just jump and do a headbutt on him, and then just repeat. I think you might hit him 5 or 6 times. Yeah, this was the only boss that was actually preventing me from a no death the first day I was playing the game. I couldn't figure him out. You take a lot of hits really quickly if you don't know what you're doing against this guy in particular. So. There we go. And I do think it's funny, like, that's one that he doesn't change at all. He just stops attacking you. I'm guessing I don't have the manual, so I haven't read the story, but for some reason all the bad dinosaurs have hair. There's Skeletor again. Oh, he doesn't have hair. I lied. The little Bonk statue or character thing I picked, those are extra lives. Yeah, whatever. Don't need them. I messed this fight up pretty badly. I forget. Yeah, I just keep on missing him. And I was actually I was getting kind of antsy when I was in the middle of this fight because I really didn't want to start over. Because I had already started over a couple times after the second boss. Or at the second, because I died. And this was the last boss I thought would ever give me any like real problems. But for some reason, he's in a really bad programming loop, so he's just moving all over the place. Now I got him, and he's gonna die very soon. But setting that up kind of took longer than I wanted it to. Alright, so now I'm fighting the turtle van. So you go in, you see the girl. I'm guessing the girl's like the bad sorceress or whatever. Again, I don't have the manual. There's no, from what I know of, there's no intro like cinematic. There's this broad. She's in her little chair. She goes away, and then now there's the turtle van. The goal is to just hit the little bubble on the top of its head. You can get a pretty good amount of hits on it if you, again, here's where the bad air control comes into play. So every time you hit something, you kind of fly in whatever direction you're holding when you're hitting the thing. So do your best to hit it once, and then just don't move the D-pad, and you can just jump up and down without any issues. Like that. See, I was able to get in a pretty good loop. Now he's dead. But you can see, like before, I was kind of flying to the left of it, to the right of it, missing, getting hit. That's pretty much a direct result of the bad air control. So now it's time for the final battle, which is against a giant lizard dinosaur thing. So again, with all the other bosses, you can actually you can start hitting him pretty quickly. Now, you have to hit him on the nose, and if you can get in a good pattern, just going straight up and doing what I'm doing here, you can take care of him pretty quickly. He'll change green, and then he starts shooting the pitchforks and starts moving around. But by this time, it's pretty much already too late for him. Like, unless you just really botch it, there's really no way that you're gonna completely die. See, I mean, only a few more hits after. Now the game's over. That's the last hit. Now I'm just trying to see how many times I can flip in the air. So that's the last boss. You know, I'll get you someday. Well, I'll get you for this someday. Don't know exactly what that is. And the crown goes to your girlfriend, or princess you're saving, or whatever. Now we can live in peace. And then she kisses you. And then he goes crazy. He actually looks a lot like Calvin from Calvin and Klein, right there. I don't know if I'm the only one that sees that, but he looks a lot like Calvin. So there's end credits, and then there is a pretty funny scene there at the end. You'll see after the credits are over. So this is where I say goodbye. So thanks for watching. I definitely appreciate anyone that's watching these. You know, again, I don't use emulators or save state things. I don't use Game Genies or nothing. It's just me on a couch, usually with my cats, just playing through these old games, having a good time. So again, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Please like, subscribe to my channel, all that cool stuff. I don't know how to end these. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Have a good night, day, whatever.